Elite strike thrower, pitches to contact. It should be a lot of fun to watch.
Beautiful day, beautiful spring afternoon in Columbia, South Carolina. 76 degrees at Founders Park, and we are indeed underway. First pitch misses to Ryan Waldschmidt for ball one. Here's a look at the Kentucky Wildcats batting order. Waldschmidt, Emilian Petrie has been excellent at second base. Waldschmidt yesterday went 2 for 4 with a solo shot, and he fouls that pitch off and out of play. 2 for 4 day yesterday for Waldschmidt, batting .365 on the season. Second year transfer from Charleston Southern. 1-2. Waldschmidt had a ACL injury he suffered this summer on the Cape. Missed the entire fall for Kentucky. And the 1-2 hit hard back up the middle. And LeCroy, tough play, and the ball gets past. Waldschmidt didn't notice for a moment. He'll stay at first. Couple of interesting defensive changes here, Greg, for South Carolina as they try to piece together some of the...
Reeves after his pinch hit home run last night, and sometimes you move guys around, but they're still working at those positions all the time. It's just they haven't been in the game yet, and it's really kind of an interesting thing to watch.
So Waldschmidt aboard with a leadoff single, brings up Emilian Petrie. They'll check on Waldschmidt, who does have 16 stolen bases on the year. Nobody runs better than Kentucky. They lead the entire conference in stolen bases this season.
This offense is fun to watch. They will do anything, and Coach Mingione finds it a little bit offensive when he gets asked about the small ball that Kentucky hypothetically plays. He goes, we'll play whatever game we need to play that day.
There goes Waldschmidt taking off, throw down from Messina. Nowhere close to in time as Waldschmidt gets his 17th stolen base of the season. All right, thank you, guys. Alabama taking the series over Ole Miss there in Oxford. We welcome you to Columbia, South Carolina, just getting underway. Top 25 showdown between South Carolina and Kentucky. Game 2 of this series. It was a wild ending last night. South Carolina taking the game in extra innings, thanks in large part to 3 solo home runs in the bottom of the 9th to tie it up. They would win it in extras. And that's a fly ball out to center field. Tagging from third is Waldschmidt. So Emilian Petrie does his job. Alongside Greg Olson, I'm Sam Ravitch. Great to have you along with us in what should be a really exciting game here in Columbia. We also have the game coming up tomorrow afternoon as well. Here's another look at the Kentucky batting order brought to you by Bush's Baked Beans. And a batting order they're going to try and get going a little bit more. The offense hasn't really been the issue for Kentucky on their 3-game losing streak, Greg, but just 6 hits yesterday, 5 runs. They left a couple on base, but a ton of fight. Ooh, there's a slip there from the starting pitcher, Eli Jones. Waldschmidt held up at third. That was awkward.
That was really awkward. And, I mean, honestly, I'm laughing, but Eli Jones made a really nice pitch for completely having his front leg slide out from underneath him. I mean, that thing could have gone anywhere.
So Grant Smith now in the batter's box takes ball 2. Smith, a senior out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, went 1 for 5 in the loss last night. He's batting over 300 on the year, taking a 7-game hit streak into the game tonight. Holds up there. Nope, they say he went around. Home plate umpire Jeff Millsap says Smith offered at it. Waldschmidt over there on third. He reached on a single to start off this game. Stole second. And then got down to third on the fly out to center field.
A couple nice pitches by Eli Jones. 2-0 count. little cut fastball down and away. Gets him right back into a 2-2 count.
Hits one hard down the third base side. It's grabbed by Casas. Throw to first is wide. And that will score the first run of the game on an E5. Up to second goes Grant Smith. And again, worth mentioning, too, some shifting in the South Carolina defense. Casas playing his first game at third base this year. Talmadge Leakroy, their normal third baseman, has shifted over to short with the injury to Will Tippett. So already a couple of interesting plays on the left side of the infield, Greg.
Yep, cut fastball, kind of backs up a little bit, ground ball to third base. Nice diving effort. I think they're going to give this a single and then a throwing error. But credit Grant Smith with an RBI. And as you said, now the whole left side seeing their first jobs at those spots so far this year. And LaCroix couldn't get to a ground ball up the middle on the first pitch of the game. That one, great play by Casas, just the throw being completely wide.
37th error of the year for South Carolina. The defense has been of concern as Nick Lopez comes up to the plate. Lopez 1 for 3 last night with that RBI to regain the lead in the top of the 10th for Kentucky before they lost it eventually in the bottom of the 10th on a 2-run blast from Blake Jackson.
Arguably, probably the best mustache in the SEC.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah, you can't even say arguably. Easily the best mustache in the SEC.
Grad transfer from USC, said that he's kind of messed around with it, didn't want to grow it. Mom didn't love it, and he said, you know what, this is my final year of college baseball. I'm going to do what feels right. And you can't really argue with what's going on with Lopez right now. He's batting .385, which leads the team. Incredible plate discipline for the grad player as well. And he strikes out here, though. Greg, that is just the 16th strikeout in 144 at-bats for Nick Lopez. So Eli Jones might want to hold on to that ball.
Yeah, he did a nice job, Jones, pitching away, and then all of a sudden runs a cutter down and in on Lopez. And just the change of pace, seeing 91 down and away, then all of a sudden a little cutter down and in. Got Lopez out front, but, man, he has been really hard to get out this year in his move from Southern California.
91-mile-an-hour heat to start off Mitch Daly's at-bat over at third base today. Transfer with College World Series experience after spending 3 years at Texas, went to Omaha twice in a Super Regional last year. And the 0-1 from Jones is flipped foul out of play, 0-2 now.
He's always thought of as a very clutch player at Texas. Put up pretty good numbers, but not great, but had pop and just always found himself in the right position at the right time. Man, if Eli Jones can get out of here with just a 1 run on 2 infield singles and a throwing error, I mean, it's advantage South Carolina. He's got to feel really good about himself. You know, nothing been hit real hard. Solid job of pitching despite.
A called strike 3 there. So there you go, Greg. Eli Jones back-to-back. That really hasn't been the identity the last couple of weeks, and you see it right here. A leadoff bunt attempt from Austin Brinling. That's just something you don't see very often from South Carolina teams and Mark Kingston coach teams. But the power number, 62 home runs, that's 8th in the SEC. They've talked about trying to change up their identity a little bit. Here's a look at that lineup. They did get some pop last night from Blake Jackson. Has 3 home runs on the year, 2 of which came in the game last night. In the 9th and 10th innings, he was the unlikely hero for them, back in the starting lineup tonight out in right field. Brinling swinging away here, and he hooks it foul. All over that fastball from Nyman.
I mean, I can't think of the last time I saw a guy step up first pitch of the game and try to drag bunt. You know, so the element of surprise is right there. Nyman, being a left-handed pitcher, has fallen off towards third base, taking advantage of that. First baseman's deep. Brinling's speed.
Ooh, just a bit outside, missing a strikeout for Nyman. And the 1-2 to Brindling. Pokes at it and lifts it out to left field for a base hit. Austin Brindling aboard with a leadoff single for the Gamecocks. You know, for a lot of the season, Greg, Austin Brindling was sitting in the dugout as an observer. And then last weekend, he was just thrust into the starting lineup. He hit in the leadoff spot for the last 2 games after only having 1 official at bat all year long. But he's been a nice spark at the top of the lineup.
This is just a great piece of hitting. Sometimes you tip your cap, and Brindling gets out there and flips this ball into left field. But, yeah, it's pretty amazing that he has 1 at bat going into last weekend's series, and the coaching staff was keeping an eye on him, and they do simulated games every Wednesday, and he was just getting hits after hits. And they were like, we got to throw this guy in the lineup.
And time called back there by Devin Burks, who will go out to have a word with Nyman here.
Yeah, we talked about Nyman's last week. Cringe-worthy moment is that little flip into left field by Brindling. The last thing Nyman on earth wanted to see was the first guy get on base. He wanted to get that first out desperately.
And now he has to face Ethan Petry, who's batting right around 300 this year. 15 home runs, leads the team, as well as 39 RBI. And he takes a called strike. Well, were it not for somebody named Charlie Condon, Ethan Petry would probably have been the SEC Freshman of the Year last year. Might have had a case for National Player of the Year as well. He fouls that one back out of play. You know, he hasn't been the same Ethan Petry this year. It's been a bit more inconsistent, but still the leader offensively. Preseason All-SEC first-team selection. Preseason first-team All-America by our friends at D1Baseball.com. And the 1-2 chases one out of the zone for strike 3. That is what Coach Kingston has been charging Ethan Petry to work on, is not chasing those pitches out of the zone, but a strikeout for Nyman.
Yeah, last year he was able to get teams to pitch him in the zone. Now he's getting 1 pitch to hit. And if he doesn't hit it, if he fouls it off, then it becomes a little bit of a chase game. And I'm sure Petry's a little bit frustrated, so he's trying to do damage, chasing things up and out of the zone like that one. But I looked at his numbers from last year and this year on Synergy, the 643 charts. His chase rate is almost identical to what it was last year. But being a freshman, you're going, all right, let's challenge him. Now it's going, there's no reason to challenge him.
Curveball misses inside to Parker Nolan. The grad transfer from Vanderbilt, played 4 seasons for the Commodores. Played over in 200 collegiate games for his career, 12 doubles, second on the team. Another off-speed, top of the zone for strike 1. How big is that first out for Nyman, though? To your point, Greg.
I mean, that was huge. Yeah, but to get Petry in that situation is huge. I can see Nyman rolling off here a little bit and just getting going with that out. It was, the exact way he wanted to do it. Couple of sliders, gets back in the count, and then gets Petry chasing up out of the zone. And now he's got a lefty-lefty matchup right here with a guy who can hit some hard ground balls.
That slider for strike 2. Nyman put together an All-American season last year at Central Connecticut. And he carried that over for much of the season into Kentucky. He tossed a complete game shutout against the Tide back on April 6th. He only needed 100 pitches to get through that one. That pitch misses well high.
He's been solid. No, you're absolutely right. Last year, Central Connecticut State was 12-2 with a 2.77. Those numbers are elite. And then this year it's off to a great start. Threw well against Auburn after the Alabama series.
Another slider. This one's taken into right field for a base hit. Brindling up to second base, and South Carolina's got 2 aboard with 1 out in the bottom of the first inning.
This is just too many sliders. You can get a guy once, you can get a guy twice. Now a hitter of Parker Nolan's ability sees that same slider and it's still elevated and it's still out over the plate. He is going to be on time. And so after that many sliders, you either take it out of the zone. He showed him a fastball, but it was a not competitive pitch. And then came back with a slider, middle. Nolan laced it into right.
Here's a guy South Carolina would really like to get going. Cole Messina has been in a bit of a slump. 3 for 21 over his last 5. He went 0 for 5 last night, but after the season he put together last season, is one of the best catchers in the entire country. And he pops this one foul out of play. Hit .307 with 18 doubles, 17 home runs, and 65 RBIs as a sophomore last year. They still got the 10 home runs, 13 doubles, 35 RBIs this year, but the swing and miss is a bit elevated, and he actually missed a couple games with a concussion as well. Nyman throw back to second. Back there in time is Brindley.
Yeah, but Messina's numbers last year, you called him out, all SEC first team, third team All-American, rated one of the best catchers in the country. And just the batting average is down a little bit, and you see a big swing and miss right there on a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Second strikeout of the inning for Nyman.
So slider. Here comes a good fastball at 90. Hadn't seen that velocity. Just can't catch up to it.
Here comes the hero from last night, Blake Jackson. What a stretch for Blake Jackson. And he gets hit. And he's talking to Nyman. As he makes his way down to first base.
That I would do that.
No, of course. Kennedy Jones steps in now with the bases loaded. South Carolina trailing by a run. Kentucky scored in the top half of this inning. Take a look at our runners here. You got Brindling on third, Nolan on second, and Jackson, who just got hit by the pitch, is on first. So Jones swinging away, grounds one against the shift and into right field. Brindling comes in to score. Here comes Nolan. The throw goes into third, and South Carolina, just like that, takes the lead on a 2-run RBI knock from Kennedy Jones.
That'll take the momentum back. Slider away. Great piece of hitting. Recognizes the fact there's nobody on the right side of the infield other than the first baseman, Nicholson. And just a routine ground ball to second base, plates two. South Carolina answers just that quickly.
That'll certainly get the crowd here at Founders Park into it. Kennedy Jones, 1 for 3 last night with an RBI, picks up right where he left off with a 2-run RBI single. South Carolina takes the lead here in game 2. Here's Gavin Casas swinging away first pitch, and he singles into center field. Make it 3-1. Kennedy Jones goes first to third. And Casas, who had a pinch hit home run in the 9th inning last night, gets the start today. He's been a bit cold as well, but if he can heat up, this team becomes a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, he gets a first pitch cut fastball, middle half away. And it's a nice ground ball taken right back up the box, scores another run. Man, you want to answer the bell after a hit by pitch, loads the bases, and keep things moving early on in the count with runners in scoring position. And let's dance, and Kentucky just made an adjustment. Here comes some heaters.
So the 8th batter for South Carolina, Talmadge Leakroy, will come to the dish. And another fastball, that time misses inside to even at 1-1. Dominic Nyman actually pitched in this ballpark last year in the regional elimination game against Campbell. He actually took a no-hitter into the 5th. Ended with a no decision in a 10-5 season-ending loss for Central Connecticut.
So he's got to have some good memories here. He's just got a lot of bad echoes roaming around the brain from last week's start. And then a couple of ground balls find holes, and you're looking around going, oh no, not here we go again.
That hit him. Second hit by pitch of the inning. That'll load him up again. It was first Jackson, now LeCroy gets a free pass. And Dalton Reeves, the 9th batter, will come to the plate for South Carolina here in the first inning.
Well, he's been working in, so he's worked fastballs and cutters in. This fastball misses by 6 inches from the inside corner. Catches an elbow brace or some sort of pad on the left arm of LeCroy. It's a tight little window in there when you're trying to pitch in.
Dalton Reeves, a pinch hit home run last night in the 9th, one of 3 to help South Carolina get back into it. The slider misses in for ball 1.
Well, this has been the problem, and we talked about it a little bit in the open of Kentucky's last couple games. Recently, it's been starting pitching.
And another base hit. Reeves singles through the right side. Kennedy Jones scores. Here comes Casas to make it 5-1 South Carolina. Off the bottom of the first with a single. The leadoff man for South Carolina now watches one bounce in the dirt for ball 1. Brindling, again, has kind of been a recent newcomer into the lineup for South Carolina.
Put up huge numbers last year at North Florida. 386 batting average, so this dude can hit. Just hadn't found his way into the lineup and kept fighting, and you really got to appreciate the spirit and the effort, you know, because you're sitting on the bench for half the season, and the only work you're getting is in sim games.
And a line shot to right makes it a 6-1 game. South Carolina's offense cannot be stopped.
Well, I've been calling for fastballs. This fastball is middle of the plate. Brindlin right on time, second time he has seen Nyman this inning.
Austin Brindling has hits in 5 straight games now. We mentioned he had only 1 official at bat before the Arkansas series last weekend. He had 4 hits in that series with a double and a couple RBIs, a couple of walks, and here he is again in game 2 of the Kentucky series with 2 hits. Yeah, you see his last 2 starts there, Greg. 16 batters faced. He's allowed 11 hits and 11 runs. He has only gotten 2 outs in his last 2 starts. Both
and then you
today.
and then you got Petrie coming up.
Right.
I mean, you know, you had worst case scenario, you know, Brindlin nice at bat, first guy, then you get Petrie and you're like, all right, maybe Nyman's going to settle back in, but this offense has just gone electric after that hit by pitch to Blake Jackson.
Let me throw a hypothetical at you here, Greg. I mean, if he gets Petrie here, you know, and stays under, say, 35, 36 pitches, do you send him back out in the second, see if he can settle himself down?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's devastating to a bullpen to have to eat 8 innings. It really is, and Coach Mingione talked about that last week, where this Saturday start against Tennessee wiped out his bullpen in a chase of trying to win that game. You use up a lot of your guys that can't come back on Sunday.
That's a wild pitch there. Up to third base goes LeCroy. Reeves down to third, Brindling up to second.
Oh, this looked like it slipped out of his hand. It's not, you don't want to have too tight of a grip on the baseball, so there's a little bit of looseness on the grip, and if sweat and something else gets in the middle of it.
This is danger time right now for Dominic Nyman in Kentucky.
Yeah, you've used up all your mound visits. I mean, Burks has been out there once. You've had the pitching coach out there once. And he's kind of peeking into the dugout right now, where it's just like, stay in there, give me one more guy, give me one more guy.
So Petrie's walk loads him up again. That one's bounced. Devin Burks blocks it to Parker Nolan, who singled in his last at bat earlier in this inning.
A great block by Devin Burks. Fastball down in the dirt. You just see that Nyman doesn't trust the fastball. His best out pitch has been his slider, and right now South Carolina's just sitting on it, hunting it, and getting it out over the plate.
Dominic Nyman has been a really good pitcher for Kentucky this entire year. Came in with a 7-3 record and a 4.08 ERA, which, by the way, was inflated because of his last start, and Nolan fouls one down the third baseline. I mentioned it earlier, Greg. I mean, he went a complete game shutout against Alabama back earlier this month. He needed 100 pitches, and that got him SEC Pitcher of the Week, that complete game shutout. It's only the third pitcher to do it under Coach Mingione at Kentucky.
It really is stunning. He was really, really good against Alabama, really good against Auburn. And right now just could not figure out a way to navigate the first inning of the last two games. But if he gets out of this, I'm letting him go, giving him one or two hitters before the damage gets too deep.
Nolan to second base, Petrie fields, and finally ends the inning, but not before. Shot out of a cannon to start SEC play. Got out to a 15-1 start in league play. They won their first 4 series, and now they've kind of hit a skid. They're on a 3-game slide right now, in danger of making it 4 in a row. It's their longest losing streak of the season, and it just hasn't gone well and gone right for them on the mound, but the bats have been good.
Yeah, their bats are solid, and they can play the game, and their pitching's been really good up until these last couple games. So you just kind of look at it, and it's an up and down season. It's a long season. And so that guy right there, I'm sure, is going to settle everything and just try to keep this offense moving forward. You know, they got to answer the bell, be competitive this inning, the next couple innings, get this thing, you know, back into a reasonable score.
Well, it was a long wait in the dugout for Eli Jones, as his team was able to put up 6 runs in the first. They sent 12 to the plate, and now he faces Ryan Nicholson to start it off in the second. Nicholson has been red hot, takes an 8-game hit streak into this one, but he's been on a tear pretty much ever since SEC play started. He leads the team with 12 home runs, 8 of which have come in the last 10 games.
Yeah, got off to a little bit of a slow start, but good take right there. You can see Eli Jones a bit shocked he did not get that call for strike 3. But Nicholson's been scorching hot. 8 home runs his last 10 games, 1 for 4 last night with a couple of RBI. Just what the doctor ordered for Kentucky's offense, a leadoff walk.
Well, we saw the fight from Kentucky last night. I mean, even after those 3 home runs in the bottom of the 9th to tie it up, like you said, Greg, they came back and scored in the top of the 10th with a Lopez single. So certainly no question about the fight in this Kentucky team, even when they go down. Nolan McCarthy now, the junior from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Another guy that has found some power since SEC play has come around. All 7 of his home runs have come against SEC pitchers.
He's always been a very toolsy player. He's just been waiting for that breakout. And right now, he is on pace to get that done. Almost hitting 300.
Hits one line to short. LeCroy is there, tries to double off Nicholson, who gets back in time.
Yeah, but, you know, I mean, Kentucky's always felt slighted. You know, if you ask anybody that's watched college baseball, what's the biggest surprise? And probably 80% of the people would say, you know, Kentucky's start, going 15-1 in the SEC is doing something that's almost uncharted. And they take that personally. And so they're going to sit there and go, okay, we're down 6-1. Our guy that's been doing it all year has been struggling. Let's pick him up and let's show these guys we can come back from down 6-1.
James McCoy takes a strike on the outer corner. To your point, the one thing that you hear from the fan base is they just want to see more consistency from Kentucky. And Coach Mingione has given it to him over the 7+ years there. But since the modern NCAA tournament format started back in 1999, Kentucky has made the postseason 6 times. They have never made it to the NCAA tournament in back-to-back seasons. They are certainly in line to do that this year. And right now they're potentially hosting a first round and second round, the Supers and the Regionals, if they continue on this pace. But I think the fan base wants to see them continue to grow and build, and Coach Mingione is the right guy to do it. He's already proven that he can do it.
No, absolutely right. He is a great man, great coach, great leader of men.
It's a called strike 3 there to McCoy. 3rd strikeout of the night for Eli Jones.
And, I had Kentucky last year quite a bit in the conversation. This is just a great pitch by Eli Jones. Fastball inside corner, paints it. But I had Kentucky quite a bit last year, and Coach was like, you know what, we really, want to take that next step, and we want to host a regional. Well, they got that done. And then they get to the Super and lose to LSU in the Super Regionals. And this year, I'm sure it's the same conversation as now, we want to host a Super, assuming we win our regional and just keep building the program. But the fans have been coming out in record numbers. It's just seeing the program really evolve.
Devin Burks, the catcher, coming to the plate for the first time in this one. He had kind of been, Burks had been the 3 guy, the cleanup hitter for much of the season, preseason All-SEC second team selection by the league's coaches, but they moved him down to the 9 hole relatively recently. And he hits this one well out to right center field. Long run for Jackson, looking up, and it's off the top of the wall. Nicholson will come in to score. Burks cruises into second with a 2-out double. Second run of the game for Kentucky. That's the 9th double of the year for Devin Burks.
This guy can hit. Don't look at the batting average. Fastball up, out, over. Drives it into about the deepest part of the ballpark, right center. He is not a 9-hole guy. So if you're sitting there looking around the batting order going, all right, we got the 9-hole up, let's throw him a fastball down Broadway. No. Not to Devin Burks.
Burks, one of the most athletic catchers, leading off second. He's got 14 stolen bases on the year. Here's Waldschmidt to short. Leacoy with a backhand stop, throws to first to complete the out.
See if we can get him back on track, but Cooper Robinson comes in, 11th game. He's got a 6.10 ERA, 1-0 on the year, 10 1/3 innings, 15 hits, 13 punch-outs.
And Messina cuts at a fastball and pops it foul out of play. We talk a lot about batters, Greg, that get in funks. You see Cooper Robinson's numbers. Pitchers get in funks too. I mean, it works both ways, and it just seems like Nyman might be in a little bit of a funk right now.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Pitchers get into funks too. I hate to say it, but you run through and you have bad memories from your last outing. You try to shake them, and all of a sudden something bad happens, and then something else bad happens, and it just snowballs.
That just misses the top of the zone to Messina, who struck out in his first at-bat, 0 for 1 today. What would you do after a bad outing, Greg? Did you have a routine that you would go through, or anything you would try to do to just erase it from the memory? This one's hit well by Messina out to center field. McCarthy is there in front of the track for out number 1.
I would, honestly, I'd go back and evaluate the outing. I would watch it on film, just checking out to see what happened. And it was funny because, in talking to Coach Mingione before this series, we were talking about Jackson Nova, and he was saying, hey, he had a bad outing, and you went back, and it was like every outing I had that was a bad outing, there was one pitch that I had a chance to get out of it. There was always one pitch. You don't know it when you're in it. If you knew exactly that, okay, this is a pitch that's going to get me out of it while I'm in it, then, it would be a different animal. But there's always one pitch that you can get out of it, and I kind of looked at you know, you got the left-handed Blake Jackson, runners on first and second, 2 outs, and you hit him in the middle of the back with a fastball that wasn't even close to doing exactly what he wanted to do, and then all of a sudden everything fell apart.
Jackson, a bloop shot, foul ground over there, and running out of room is Mitch Daly.
But long story, I would go back and evaluate the outing and see what I was missing. What, you know, was there a couple walks in the thing? Did I miss with some pitches? Was a couple of my pitches just the flat wrong pitch? When a ball gets hit really hard and I make a good pitch, then it's the wrong pitch. So I'd evaluate it that way and then try to get rid of it as fast as I could.
Jackson tips one into the mitt of Burks. And a good start for the new pitcher, Cooper Robinson, has retired both batters that he has faced.
Yeah, this is just an escalation of velocity. We've seen 91, 92. Well, here's 94. And there's not a hitter in the world that's going to, you know, see 91, 92 and be able to even catch up to 94. So nice job by Robinson to get 2 quick outs after his team gets a nice run to answer the 6th spot in the bottom of the 1st.
Kennedy Jones drove in 2 of the 6 with a single in the bottom of the 1st. And a hanging breaking pitch is hit hard but foul. Jones, grad transfer from UNC Greensboro, has made the transition to the SEC look seamless at times. But he was ranked the top impact transfer going into the season for this team. And he has absolutely made an impact. Saw the numbers, batting just under 300 as he watches ball 1 outside. He worked the crucial walk last night, Greg, in the bottom of the 10th, which allowed Blake Jackson to come to the plate and hit the game-winning home run. That was a big 7-pitch walk that he worked, and he lines one into center field for a second hit of the day.
That's just a great piece of hit. You talked about it. He put up.
Casas is another guy that just hadn't really been seeing it all that well. This is a dangerous South Carolina offense when everything is clicking, and you're kind of just getting the feeling that maybe they're figuring it out right now, which could be really dangerous for the rest of the SEC going down the stretch of the season. But Casas coming into the game, 232 batting average, everyday first baseman from last year. Another guy that, you know, finished second on the team. He had 19 homers last year. He's got 6 now this year after his homer last night. But, you know, 5 doubles, 6 home runs in 40 games. I'm sure he would like to see those numbers start to creep up a little bit more down the last couple of weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, last year he was outstanding. Hit by pitch, walks, found a way to get on base. On base percentage was off the charts.
Takes a called strikes ago. Series win here over Kentucky today would be massive in regards to their potential hosting spots for the NCAA tournament.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, they've had a little bit of a gauntlet themselves. They had Vandy week 2. They get 1 of 3 at Ole Miss, get Sweet Vandy, 1 of 3 at Bama, you know, then they get 1 of 3 against A&M, so it's every week, you know, 2 of 3 at Florida, and then they get 1 of 3 versus Arkansas. You know, they've run the gauntlet. It feels like, you know, Coach Kingston was kind of, hey, you know, if we can get through this weekend with number 4 Kentucky and do well, it gets a little bit easier, not completely.
Petrie rolls over 1 to second. 1 away in the top of the 3rd. You know, last year's South Carolina team got off to a great start, much like Kentucky this year. But because of some injuries, they kind of struggled a bit down the stretch. Still made it to a super regional. This year's team, again, feels like we just haven't seen the best of them yet because they haven't really been able to gel and put it together consistently. So, you know, still with a 10-9 record, if they haven't put it together yet, look out.
Yeah. No, their offense has struggled, and they've struggled with runners in scoring position. Petrie's not doing what he did. Costas not doing what he did. Messina's down a little bit. And you're just kind of looking around going, man, if these guys start clicking a little bit, it's going to be scary. Because right now they're 10-9 in the SEC, and they've run a gauntlet of, top 10 teams.
Right.
I about said it in our call with Coach Kingston. There's just, hey, you know what? It looks like schedule, and he goes, don't say it. I'm kind of thinking it, just don't say it. And I was like, got it, won't. Conversation's over with on that side.
Yeah, he didn't even want you going there. He's like, Greg, I appreciate it. I got it. We got to play some good baseball. That was a message from Coach Kingston. Another grounder towards third. Casas on 1 foot. Throws out Smith. 2 up, 2 down. There's a look at their final 3 SEC series. They go to Missouri, who lost the series to Tennessee earlier today. Georgia has been playing well, but they were facing A&M this weekend. And then they go to Tennessee. That's a tough ending there, but a couple of teams there, Missouri and Georgia, who have had their ups and downs this year as well. Lopez swinging first pitch, fly out to left. Top 25 matchup. Game 2 of the series. South Carolina took it last night in walk-off fashion, 6-5. They lead it here, 6-2. Alongside Greg Olson, I'm Sam Ravitch. Great to have you alongside what has been a great weekend in college baseball. We're getting down to it. Final stretch of the season. The SEC tournament in Hoover is coming up in just about a month, less than that. Talmadge Lecroy playing shortstop today for the first time this season will lead it off for the Gamecocks. South Carolina scoring all 6 runs in the bottom of the first inning. And Lecroy is the 3rd South Carolina batter that's been hit by a pitch already in this game.
That was almost identical to what happened to him in the first inning. Fastball up and in. He just doesn't blink, doesn't move. You can see where Kentucky is trying to pitch him in, and he is on the dish, he is on the line. You have a 4-inch window between inside corner and left elbow. He is 0 for 0 with 2 hit by pitches.
Dalton Reeves now steps in. He takes a called strike. By the way, I hate to say it, Greg, but we are expecting some rain in the area in Columbia.
No.
Hopefully it avoids the area, but just a FYI, a heads up. Called strike 2 to Reeves, who had an RBI single in his first at bat. And there we go, Greg.
The bearer of bad news, Sam.
Somebody's got to be it.
Yeah, I know. I was just hoping the clouds were moving the other direction.
We'll see. It has not started raining yet, so that's a good sign as Reeves strikes out on 3 pitches from Cooper Robinson, who has come in and done really well. He's got 3 strikeouts now in an inning and a third of work.
He does a nice job. He mixes in some breaking balls, has shown it for strikes. It's a lot of really well-located fastballs between 89 and 94. And so changes speeds, locates real well. He's not afraid to throw the fastball for a strike.
Back up to the top of the order in Brindling, who's got 2 hits and 2 at-bats. We've mentioned the journey for Austin Brindling. It has been a long, winding road for a guy who started his college career at Florida, actually, in the shortened COVID season in 2020. Didn't end up appearing in a game there. He pops one up on the infield over towards third, and there to make the grab is Mitch Daly, but Brindling.
About Austin Brindling, because it's been a great story, as you said, and transferring 3 times now, finding a home, getting 1 at bat going into last weekend is just shocking for him to come out and right now 2 for 3 already here in the 3rd inning.
Here is Ethan Petrie, who has struck out and walked so far today. Coach Kingston said that he would kind of like Petrie to take the Barry Bonds approach at the plate, Greg. That's what he was saying during our call and during the press events before the series started. But, if they're going to walk, you take the walk. If they're going to throw you a strike, then make them pay for it. That was kind of the message from his head coach.
Yeah, Barry Bonds, during his great run, theorized that he got one pitch to hit per at bat. And it was his job to hit that one pitch. And if he missed that one pitch, he probably wasn't getting another one that at bat. Nice job by Petrie to stay patient, not try to do too much. And sometimes, you start off and you have a great year, freshman year. You start struggling a little bit your sophomore year, and then you start trying to do more than you need to. And then all of a sudden you're starting chasing things out of the zone. Now everything snowballs a little bit, and it gets, to where he's not doing what he's capable of doing.
First pitch to Parker Nolan is a breaking ball low and in. Parker Nolan has been the main bat for South Carolina so far in SEC play. Came into the game with a .313 batting average against SEC arms. He's got a single and a ground out. He ended that 6-run first inning with a ground out. Over 200 hits in his collegiate career. And he gives this one a ride to center field, but going to stay in the park for Nolan McCarthy. And that will do it to end the third. It's 6-2. We will talk to the Gamecocks, Mark Kingston. Coach, thanks for taking the time. We appreciate it. Good start tonight. I want to talk to you about Austin Brindling and what we've seen from him, because it feels like a guy that embodies your program. I know you always say we're building blue collar, we work hard, we'll dive, we'll get our jersey dirty. It feels like he's one of those guys, and he's made the most of his opportunity.
Yeah, he's been a real good spark for us as of late. He came in here through the portal, and it took a while for him to really get his feet underneath him and find his groove, but now that he has, he's really been a nice addition for us.
Hey, Coach, Greg Olson. Hey, we talked on Thursday about runners in scoring positions kind of been the biggest deficit so far this year. Was there a talking point, because today so far so good, knock on wood for you, but was there a talking point, because it just seems like something's translated over these last couple games?
Nothing new. It's the same things you always talk about. You want to make sure you take good short swings, you swing at good pitches. That doesn't change with nobody on or runners on base. You just want to take quality at bats. So I wouldn't say so. Sometimes the game just comes your way and you create momentum.
Coach, we appreciate you taking the time. We'll let you get back to it.
Okay, thanks guys.
Coach.
Appreciate Coach Kingston joining us. Yeah, they were one of the, if not the worst teams in the SEC hitting with runners in scoring position. And, so far tonight, 4 for 7. All 6 runs coming back in the first. And this one's launched by Mitch Daly out to left field, way back there at the wall. Jones looking up. It's out of here. A solo shot for Mitch Daly, the transfer from Texas, and it's his 6th of the season.
Well, Kentucky continues to peck away. They got 1 in the first, 1 in the second. Big 6-run deficit in the bottom of the first, but they continue to peck away at it, and Daly gets a hanging slider and just bangs it over left field. He was thinking that I don't think he thought he got it all, but man, this ball is clearly out.
So a solo home run by Mitch Daly makes it a 3-run ball game. Ryan Nicholson at the plate now. He worked a walk in his first at bat. And Nicholson puts a charge into one. Out to right field, and this ball is gone. Back-to-back solo shots for the Kentucky Wildcats. Makes it a 2-run ball game. Man, has there been anybody hotter than Ryan Nicholson lately, Greg? That is now 9 home runs in the last 11 games.
This guy is scorching hot, really found his swing once the SEC started. A little cut fastball down and in. Doesn't get it there. And Nicholson just pulls you have a meeting and you distract him, and then you run your whole staff down there when he's not really looking. But shockingly, I'm listening to my pitching coach and what he's telling me, but I'm looking and seeing the fire drill running out of the dugout.
Nolan McCarthy takes strike two. I mean, how about the fight from Kentucky, Greg, right? I mean, you go back to last night, even when South Carolina tied it up in the 9th, they score in the 10th. Here they go down 6-1 after 1 inning. And they're just fighting their way back. Scored a run in the 2nd, now back-to-back homers here in the 4th. And it's a 2-run ball game. Very manageable the rest of the way for a team that didn't have their starter. Nyman went out after the 1st inning.
I mean, Hummel, they got the ball to Hummel last night with a 4-1 lead. And they're probably sitting there going, game over, let's move on to the next game. And you know, South Carolina hits the 3 solo shots. Kentucky answers back. These guys have felt disrespected all year. All the pundits are like, you know, the biggest shock in probably the country is what Kentucky's doing in the SEC. So they're not going to quit just because they're down 6-1.
That's a snag there by Eli Jones. Helps himself out and puts out number 1 on the board here in the top of the 4th.
Well, the book is Eli Jones is a great athlete. This is a nice pitch, cutter down and away. One hopper, he gets up and gets it. Make sure that there's not going to be any ground balls rolling up the middle on that one. See, Sam, pitchers are athletes too.
Oh, yes. I'm always a proponent of the pitcher-athlete conversation. McCoy to the right side, and Nolan can't handle it. Looks like it just scooped right over his mitt there.
The one guy playing his standard position right there is James McCoy. Excuse me, that's Parker Nolan.
That's an E4, Greg.
Yeah, he was in position to get it. Just looked like it caught the lip of the grass. Came up a little higher than he was expecting. Well, if you're going to come back from big deficits, you need walks, you need errors, you need a couple home runs. Right now, Kentucky's getting a little bit of everything.
Yeah, 2nd error of the game already for South Carolina defensively, and Devin Burks takes a strike as Jones slipped on the mound.
Again.
Yeah, 2nd time we've seen that.
And the thing is, when you slip once, you start thinking about it.
Yeah.
It starts becoming a conscious thought of where I'm landing, and instead of my focus being 60 feet away.
Burks out to center field. Won't have the distance, though, as Brindling ranges under it for the 2nd out.
But it becomes a focus. You start thinking about, you know, am I going to slide? Do I need to focus on where I'm landing instead of where I'm throwing? And that is never a good thing, but Eli Jones has done a nice job. Both pitches he slipped have been very competitive, and one was actually a strike. And we haven't even had rain yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah, let's have a collective knock on wood, right? Let's everybody at home. We're all knocking on some wood here. We got to make sure the rain stays away.
I did that for Coach Kingston, too. I was like, okay, I'm going to say this, but I'm knocking on wood. I'm sure he did, too, sitting in the dugout, you know, looking around trying to find something.
Well, we'll talk to head coach Nick Mingione in the bottom of the 4th. Talk about some of the fight that he's seen from his team. Just never giving up. Still very early on in this game. It's a called strike 2 there to Waldschmidt. It was a single and grounded out to end the 2nd so far in this one.
You talk about hot guys. This guy's been scorching hot as well. 6 home runs, 15 RBI his last 7 games.
Well, if you bat leadoff for Coach Mingione at Kentucky, you got to have some space, some speed, and you better get on base. And Ryan Waldschmidt does that with the best of them. A .509 on base percentage, and he's stolen 17 bases on the year. He's already stolen one here tonight.
That was a lot of what he saw early on from Eli Jones is that little cut fastball away. Just rolling over to shade, but was able to get a single on that. in the first inning. See if he goes up there hunting for it right here. Tries to do something with it up the middle.
And this one's lined out to left center field for a base knock. Going first to third is McCoy, and he's held up there. Second hit of the night for Waldschmidt.
He gets that cut fastball away. Left elevated a shade. You continue to throw the same pitches, and they can be great pitches. But if you continue to throw the same pitches to the same guys, they are going to get on time on those pitches. They've seen it enough. Third at bat in 4 innings. They're going to figure things out. He gets one that does not, maybe misses a spin, gets left out over the plate just a little bit and laces it into left center.
So they will intentionally walk Emilian Petrie to get to Grant Smith, who did have an RBI single in the first inning.
Well, Petrie is just one of the better hitters in the SEC. So not a bad thought, looking for a righty-righty matchup as opposed to the righty-lefty against Petrie.
So bases loaded here for Kentucky, and a chance to tie it up or even take the lead here with Grant Smith at the plate, as Eli Jones delivers a fastball and it's lined right back up the middle. 1 run will come in to score. Here comes Waldschmidt. We are tied. And just like that, after going down 6-1, Kentucky climbs right back in this thing.
It's just back-to-back cut fastballs, and I've said it's a great pitch, but it's not getting protected with the fastball. So these guys are going up there, seeing the same pitch over and over again. Their fastball will be 88 to 92. It's got good carry, so it'll play up, curveball, and a changeup as well.
Nick Lopez coming to the plate with 2 outs, and a wicked breaking pitch in for strike 1. This inning started off, by the way, with back-to-back home runs for Kentucky from Mitch Daly and Ryan Nicholson. And that got the offense jumping. They have scored 4 so far. Burks flied out to center field, and the double from Waldschmidt. 2-run RBI single from Grant Smith after the intentional walk to Petrie. And now Nick Lopez is 0 for 2 tonight with a strikeout and a flyout. Lopez, the grad transfer from USC, played 2 seasons with the Trojans by way of Santa Ana Community College. And he's coming home! Oh, nobody saw him! That's Kentucky baseball at its finest. Emilian Petrie scored from third as Matthew Becker was caught sleeping.
Well, you can watch Matthew Becker. This is a long look in, okay, and a long set. Now, this is a Kentucky play. He does not even bite on Grant Smith running halfway and falling down, which is the look. But with an 0-2 count, they steal home.
Watch it and call it, but can you talk us through that play you guys designed up there with Petrie stealing home?
Yeah, just one of the plays, part of our offense is, stealing bases, creating pressure on our opponents, and it's a play where, we had 2 strikes and we wanted to be aggressive, and it just happened to work this time.
Hey, Coach, if you don't mind me asking, what was the thing with the umpires last inning? What happened?
There was a warning, a separate warning for both teams.
All right. And then you got beer being thrown on your dugout right now?
Yes, I can confirm. I don't think I'll get in trouble for that. But, yes, our players got beer poured on them. Yes, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Right.
We'll let you go, Coach. I know you got a lot of stuff on your mind right now. I appreciate your help.
Man, I appreciate you guys. We got a good one going. Let's finish.
All right, that's Coach Nick Mingione. This has been a very strange game, not only from what Coach just relayed to us there, Greg, but somebody stole home. Emilian Petrie stole home. Kentucky has regained the lead after going down 6-1. There was a long pause there as well. pause and play where the umpires kind of convened and talked something over. And now a new pitcher on, Robert Hogan for Kentucky, represents the third pitcher used by them in this game. So the write-up for this game is going to be very interesting for all the beat reporters that are there covering this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, and I don't know if I should have asked him or shouldn't have asked him. He got on, and he was kind of hot about it. So, but the warnings that went out was there must have been some back and forth between dugouts and players on the field, and so there's another warning of where people can get ejected if there's taunting. So that's in play, and after last night's game, this is getting really interesting.
Messina out to center field for the first out of the bottom of the fourth. The rain also has started to fall here at Founders Park. We were expecting to have some rain. It is hopefully not going to last very long. There are clear skies over the left field wall, not so much over the right field wall towards downtown. But we will monitor that as it goes along. We have blue skies over there. Some of the fans starting to seek some shelter as well. With
but the blue skies are on the wrong side.
Yeah. Well, look, Greg, I mean, this is a competitive atmosphere. Obviously, we know that these two teams are fighting for positioning, fighting for hosting spots right now. And these players know each other, too. A lot of them, I'm sure played each other in travel ball growing up. And these series have been tight the last couple of years.
And then you add in the factor of summer baseball where these guys,
sure,
play up at the Cape, and so there's a whole bunch of aspects going on. But the game last night, 4-1 lead for Kentucky. All of a sudden it's 4-4. Kentucky answers again. I can guarantee there's people talking, and it's just part of every sports game.
Jackson pops one up on the infield. Daly will give way to Smith for out number 2.
But it's just part of what it is, and then all of a sudden, first inning, he comes up and gets hit in the middle of the back with the first pitch, and he had 2 huge home runs last night. That just accelerated whatever happened last night into a whole different dimension. So we've had warnings on the hit by pitch. We've had warnings on the dugout talk.
That one just misses to Kennedy Jones, who is 2 for 2 in this game. 2 RBI single in the first, singled in the second. And a breaking pitch fouled out of play.
This guy's done a really, really nice job of hitting. First at bat in the first inning, hits a slider away, just pokes it through the hole in the shift.
And he bloops one out to right field. Will it drop? No. McCoy tracked it down. And a 1-2-3 inning for Robert Hogan coming in out of the pen. Kentucky with a lead now. Will come back to the plate in the top of the 5th. In the lead in this very strange game 2 of 3. And Greg and I will have the call for game 3 tomorrow as well. So this has been a very interesting series between these two clubs. Mitch Daly will lead it off here.
Sorry, partner. That double steal to end last inning on an 0-2 count is a completely designed play, only works on left-handed pitchers. And if Matthew Becker had not been going slowly through his motion of getting set up, he would have seen Grant Smith fall down, and the idea is that he tries to pick him off.
Daly out to left, going back to the warning track, and making the grab is Jones. As the ball kept traveling out there to left, Jones peering through the rain, able to make the grab for out number 1.
And so Becker's supposed to, hypothetically pick the guy off who's fallen down in between first and second base, but Becker wasn't even looking, and easy stolen base home, and then Grant Smith ends up getting to second base on the stolen base, and they steal a run on an 0-2 count. Next pitch is strikeout, end of inning.
Here is Ryan Nicholson facing the left-hander Becker. It's a play that you would see a lot in Little League, like the Little League World Series. That's That's a play that, I remember practicing that play when I was in Little League, and yet here it is working for Kentucky in a D1 college game. But they are so creative on the base pass. It's not just the stolen bases. They create opportunities for themselves to score. And that was a great example of it, and it gave them the lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gutsy play, but they wait till 2 strikes on one of their best hitters, Nick Lopez.
Nicholson to center field, chasing Bringling back to the track, and that's out of here! Second home run of the game for Ryan Nicholson. And he just continues to swing one of the hottest bats in the country, his 14th of the year.
Scorching hot. Fastball up and out. And the book on him is he can leave the yard at any time. Well, he just left it again. Back-to-back innings, back-to-back solo bombs. What an answer by Kentucky.
Wow. I mean, they weren't even phased, Greg, when they go down by 5 runs in the first.
No. And it just continues of the disrespect that they feel. They're just going to go out there and show you. And it's, I talked about it earlier. Yeah, you know what? Kentucky's known for their small ball. They'll steal bases. They'll bunt. They'll do whatever it takes. Well, how about 3 bombs already?
That one went 433 feet off the bat of Ryan Nicholson. Nolan McCarthy faces an 0-2 count. He chases a breaking pitch. Messina will throw down to first to complete the strikeout, second out of the inning. Good fight back from Becker.
And now can we see if South Carolina is going to fight back? Because you get that big of a lead, you'll see a lot of teams, and I'm talking about in major leagues, they get 6 runs in the first, and all of a sudden it's just dead silent for the rest of the game. See if South Carolina can find a way to get out of this inning, get their offense back up there, and see if they can get rolling again, because it's been pretty quiet since that first inning.
McCoy loses his bat as if we haven't seen everything already in this series. The rain loosening the grip for James McCoy.
That was a good bat toss.
Yeah.
We got a distance on that one yet? I mean, we got a good distance on the Nicholson home run.
Whoa.
That's why they put the netting up.
Well, McCoy reached on the E4 by Parker Nolan in his last at bat, came around to score. Breaking pitch, lifted out to right. Jackson going back at the wall, and this ball is out of here. Unbelievable. The 4th home run of the game for Kentucky. McCoy's 5th, and it is 9-6 Wildcats.
McCoy has been in a major scuffle. That error before that was a nicely hit ball. This one's hanging breaking ball, and you can see the pop and the power that he's got. He's a super talented player. Just been 2 for his last 30. Huge home run. 2 more this inning. So we got 4 home runs in the last 2 innings by Kentucky.
McCoy went 1 for 11 in the Tennessee series last weekend. But the bats have come alive for the Wildcats here. That one just getting over the fence at 349 feet. But they all count the same. Doesn't matter how far they go.
This game has just been unbelievable. 6 runs in the first, knocks out Kentucky's All-American starter. And Kentucky doesn't blink. Like, all right, we'll get 1, then 5, then 2 more.
Devin Burks gets hit right on number 7. Unlucky number 7 that time, and he's very slow to drop all the gear there.
That's one of your team captains right there, giving a look in the dugout like, all right, game on.
This game has been tenuous on both sides. Remember, all the way back in the first inning, Blake Jackson was hit by a pitch, and that kind of started everything. But it is raining, so,
Their mound wet, so the righty's mound would be rained on.
How hard was it pitching in the rain, Greg? Is it really as, or does it depend?
It depends on how hard it's raining. And, if the baseballs are wet in the umpire's bag.
Single off the bat of Ryan Waldschmidt as the bats continue to hit for Kentucky. That's the 10th hit of the game.
Unbelievable. That's his 3rd hit of the game. We've got a couple scorching hot guys on this field today, but if it start raining hard where the ball gets wet and then all of a sudden my jersey's wet and I have not one dry spot on my body that I can get my fingers dry, then we have a problem. So you're going to the rosin bag a lot. A lot of guys don't like to use that. It becomes a little bit more complicated than you expect. Just depends on how wet the baseballs are.
You just wonder if you're thinking about it too, right? You're thinking about your grip. If that somehow creeps into your mind, it's that takes your mind off of what you're supposed to be doing. That's a nice fastball at Emilian Petrie there for strike 1.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's how much you're actually focused on the ball being wet, your hand being wet, you don't have a good grip. You tighten up the grip a little bit, and you can see Becker right there a little bit frustrated. And when you tighten up your grip too much on a breaking ball, that's usually the result, is it ends up getting smothered into the dirt.
2 balls and a strike to Petrie, who was intentionally walked his last at bat. There's a breaker in for a strike 2. And Petrie rips one on the ground. Sliding stop by Nolan to his feet. Not in time. Petrie's got a ton of speed. And Kentucky loads him up here in the 5th.
Well, we talked about guys for South Carolina being in different positions. Petrie is in a different position. All right, so he's playing first base for the 2nd time this year. He goes after this ball in between 1st and 2nd. He does not get back. So Nolan fields this ball, makes a nice sliding play, comes up. Petrie's not on the bag. He does not get to the bag by the time that Petrie is already there.
Grant Smith has been the hero amongst many for Kentucky in this game, but he's driven in 3 of the 9 runs, 2 for 3. Had the 2-run RBI single his last at bat after the intentional walk to Petrie. He's got him loaded again here. This is high, 2 balls, no strikes.
He's mainly been batting in the 9 hole, and with Devin Burke's hamstring issues, they move him out of the 3 hole and just basically switch spots, Grant Smith with Devin Burks. Grant Smith moves in, and hey, 3 RBI, a couple of big knocks. And then a good hitter's count right here with the bases juiced.
Grant Smith was the everyday shortstop from last year. Underwent hip surgery in the offseason. Admittedly said that the recovery from that was very hard, and it took him a while to get going, and he works a bases-loaded walk. Kentucky puts their 10th run on the board.
I'm not sure what that was with Devin Burks, and that's going to be the end of the day for Matthew Becker.
Pitch off the bat of Ryan Nicholson. And the first pitch misses low to Lopez. Nicholson has been great. So too have a lot of the offensive bats for Kentucky tonight. Waldschmidt's on 3rd, Petrie on 2nd, Smith on 1st. And the 1-0 pitch, another breaking ball down for ball 2.
It's almost the exact same spot as last inning. Kentucky was batting around. Grant Smith gets a single up the middle to plate 2 runs. Lopez ends up striking out to end the inning when Matthew Becker came in. And then Becker runs through this inning, and now all of a sudden Pitzer comes in a jam.
Good news, Greg. Rain has all but stopped in Columbia, South Carolina so far, so that's the knocking on the wood helped. So far. Called strike 1 to Lopez. Kentucky already worked.
You can't talk about the knocked on wood that much, though. It's gonna go a reverse flip.
3-1 and a called strike 2. Kentucky worked a bases loaded walk. Grant Smith was at the plate, and that prompted the pitching change. And now after going down 3-0, Pitzer back in this count 3-2 to Lopez.
3-1 breaking ball with the bases loaded. Thoroughly impressive.
And he brings it out again. That was a back footer there that Lopez just got a piece of.
Lopez swings at what would be ball 4, but in the reaction mode of, oh, that's a breaking ball, I can't strike out looking with the bases loaded, he just spoils a good pitch. Let's see if Pitzer comes with that fastball. He can light it up to 94.
Payoff. Fastball, line shot into center field for a base hit. Waldschmidt scores. Petrie being waved around. He will score another one. It is 12-6. First hit of the day for Lopez, brings in 2. And after being down 6-1 in the first inning, Kentucky has doubled up South Carolina here over the next 4.
This is just a great piece of hitting. This fastball is well located, and it's a good pitch. Just Lopez gets out there, just buggy whips it back up the box. It's kind of one of those when you're standing there, me being an ex-pitcher, I'm like, right now, everybody's scorching hot. Doesn't matter who you run in from the bullpen.
So 6 of 9 Kentucky starters have registered RBIs in the game. Not hits, RBIs. That's how hot these bats have been. Only Nolan McCarthy in the starting lineup does not have a hit. Everybody else has at least one.
What an answer. I mean, last night's game, would devastate a lot of teams, and they would be feeling the effects coming into today.
They're trying to squeeze there, it looked like, with Grant Smith on third. Inside, ball 3.
And so last inning, they got runners on first and third, 2 outs, and they do the double steal with Grant Smith falling down hypothetically over at first base. Now they try 2-0 squeeze with the runners on first and third and 2 outs.
Fastball up in the zone is flipped back out of play, 3-2. Daly hit a home run, 1 of 4 for Kentucky back in the 4th. Lopez, not a lot of speed at first. And the 3-2 breaking pitch is blown away, ball 4. Kentucky will load him up again here, still 2 outs.
That's a really good take by Daly. Breaking ball just missed down and away. I don't know if he took Pitzer off that fastball by fouling it straight back on the 3-1 count, but South Carolina elects to go with a 3-2 breaking ball right there. Now we got bases loaded again for probably the hottest guy on this field.
Yeah, what do you do here? No place to put him. Nicholson, 2 home runs in this game. He has 9 home runs in his last 11. And a fastball misses outside for ball 1. This is danger time here right now for South Carolina. You got to find a way to get an out.
Yeah, this is not the guy I would have thrown a 3-2 breaking ball to get to if I miss. I mean, yeah, Daly can hit it, and he can hit it a long way, but you got this dude's probably the hottest guy in the SEC right now, Nicholson. He's got 2 bombs already today. I just not walking somebody to get the bases loaded to get to him.
Smith on third. Lopez scoots up to second after the walk to Daly. Nicholson ahead in the count, 1-0. And Pitzer delivers a breaking pitch, lifted high and deep out to right field. On the warning track is Jackson, and he makes the catch. That is a loud third out off the bat of.
And he tried a suicide squeeze, and the base runner at third base picked up the foul ball and tossed it to the catcher. And I was like, never seen that. I was like, this is great. I love it. I love coming to the ballpark or watching it, and
Right.
get to see something you've never seen before.
Well, South Carolina will try to get their offense back that they had to start this game. It'll be 7, 8, 9 in the order. Casas, LeCroy, and Reeves due up to face Robert Hogan, who is the third pitcher used by Kentucky so far in this one.
Yeah, the bullpen for Kentucky has done a solid job of coming in. Cooper Robinson before that went 2 innings. Now Robert Hogan done a nice job of stabilizing the game, and Kentucky's offense woke up after, well, they were awake starting the game. They've just dialed it up another notch. So we've had 3 times, 3 lineups bat around. That's a good one.
Yep.
Now we're just waiting for South Carolina.
Yeah, and they've also been hit by a pitch 3 times today. LeCroy's been hit twice. As Casas rips one down the first baseline foul. Casas had the RBI single in the first and struck out in the second. Some youngsters enjoying it.
Oh, I'm sure they're sliding down the hill.
Oh, yeah. Casas, fans at a 90-mile-an-hour fastball up and away. Second time he has struck out tonight.
Well, that's just pitching 101, showing soft stuff down, soft, and then a little cut fastball slider in, gets him to hook it foul, and then you go with your best velo on a fastball up and away, and it's just past his bat.
Here's Talmadge LeCroy, and he nearly got hit for the third time, Craig. I mean, nearly got hit for the third time tonight. He was hit by a pitch in the first, hit in the third, came around to score a run in the first. He's saying, let me swing the bat here. It takes ball too high.
Yeah, I think I gave him credit for having an elbow pad and getting hit with that one in the first inning. But no, there's no elbow pad there. He's getting hit on, solid body parts.
Oh, boy.
He could have got hit there.
Tailed inside.
Well, I mean, the way he's been wearing both, the other one, the second one got him up in the shoulder. He'll gladly wear it. Probably take the walk, though.
That's in for strike one. Hitter-friendly count to Talmadge LeCroy. He was the returning everyday third baseman from last year. Talked about his numbers. Does work really good at-bats. Aside from the hit by pitches, second on the team with 35 walks on the season. Add a couple more free passes this year. And the 3-1 pitch is hit sharply through the left side and into left field. A base hit for LeCroy. That is the first hit since the second inning for South Carolina.
This is a nice piece of hitting. 3-1 slider. Down and away, he gets the pitch there. LeCroy gets out there, just hooks it to left field. He's looking into the dugout going, all right, boys, we got to kick-start this thing, get it going. I've talked about the pitch sequencing. There's reasons guys are on time. That one, you got to tip your cap to the hitter. Just go, great piece of hitting. 3-1 slider, you got there and hook it to left field.
What away for Dalton Reeves. 1 for 2 today with the RBI single. That scored 2 in the first. 317 average for a guy who had primarily kind of been a defensive guy, backup catcher, but has gotten more at-bats recently, and he flies out to center field for the second out of the inning, and that rolls it back to the top of the order for Brindling.
Brindling's been another one of the guys that's been swinging it really well. 2 for 3 already today. 1 RBI.
You know what's funny, Greg? His first at-bat as a starting position player for South Carolina was against Hagen Smith of Arkansas. Now, Hagen Smith has been probably the best arm in college baseball this year. And how about that, right? You get up, you get your chance, you're at bat as he fouls that one off. And you got to go face Hagen Smith. I mean, that's tough. And to make it better, too, he worked a walk in that at-bat, and then he got picked off at first.
Well, I mean, okay, so you go through the whole thing. Hagen Smith's the best pitcher in the country right now, and it's a lefty-lefty matchup. So you're going, great, I get 1 at-bat all year,
right?
And then you throw me in on Friday night against the best pitcher in the country who's also left-handed. And then you work a walk, and then you get picked off, and you're going, well, you know what, that might have been my second and only at-bat for the year. But Coach Kingston's kept him in there, and he's been a little bit of a spark plug for this offense. Certainly has today.
Faces an 0-2 count here, 2 away in the bottom of the 5th. Talmadge Leekroy off at first. And a fly ball out to center field. Playable for McCarthy, and that will do it. We are through 5 innings here. Third innings this year. He has allowed 6 hits and 5 runs while striking out 7. Devin Burks will come to the plate in this inning. He will bat third, but Nolan McCarthy will start it off. He is the lone Kentucky batter without a hit so far tonight.
Man, we're going to see a good fastball from Tyler Dean. He's going to attack with it. It's going to be fast. It's going to be 92 to 96 with some carry. Slider, curveball, changeup. A transfer from Virginia Tech. But back to Devin Burks. Coach Mingione says he's as good a leader as there is in college baseball. And to have that being your guy sitting behind home plate, I can't tell you as a pitcher when you have a guy that's calling the pitches, that's able to walk out and have a conversation about what's going on, and him being, the guy in the clubhouse, it means a whole lot.
Oh, that was a dangerous play from the jump. As Jackson, Nolan, and Petrie all convened out there in shallow right, and it didn't look like anybody really was in command there. So that will be a base hit, and now everybody for Kentucky in the starting lineup has at least 1 hit.
This is just a miscommunication. I mean, in my mind, this is Parker Nolan's ball. So you see Petrie goes back, drop steps, the ball's directly behind him, which makes it a very difficult play. It was not hit that high, and Nolan's got to get over there. It's a much easier play, much easier angle, and there must have just been a miscommunication on who called what, but ball drops into shallow right field for a single.
Well, Dean did his job. He got soft contact there and did not get much help from his defense. By the way, this is Dean's first appearance since April 3rd. This is also his first appearance versus an SEC opponent. And a fastball misses at 92 at the knees for ball 1.
Yeah, it's just a short little arm mark by Tyler Dean, but ball comes out and electric. Good fastball, and he's going to use it often.
And McCoy chases a good curveball down in the dirt for strike 2. McCoy 1 for 3. Hit that home run back in the 5th. 1 of 4 tonight for Kentucky. Kentucky has 10 players who have left the yard at least once this year.
Well, just sit there and you look at Kentucky, and you know, they got Reuben Church that is sitting on the bench. They got Herrera that's played quite a bit. They've been able to find a way to mix and match when guys get dinged up, and that guy right there has done an unbelievable job. He's looking over at first base right now at McCarthy going, hey, this ball's in the dirt on a breaking ball. You got to be taken off and getting a good read. This is the third base coach's international sign for ball in the dirt, be running.
McCarthy's got 4 stolen bases on the season. Good at bat put together here by McCoy. And the 2-2 from Dean, a breaking pitch in for strike 3. That is nasty stuff from Tyler Dean.
Really good 12-6 hammer. Sharp, late. About 80 miles an hour, and after throwing 92, 93, 94. You got 2 different pitches. See if Tyler Dean can start expanding the strike zone up. But South Carolina desperately needs somebody to coming out of the bullpen and getting some outs.
Transferred in from Virginia Tech, did Dean. Now he faces Devin Burks, Mr. Wildcat.
Come on, Dino. Let's go, baby.
Runner taken off, and the throw down not in time. McCarthy's got his 5th stolen base of the year, and Kentucky continues to cause havoc on the base paths.
The 86th stolen base on the year by Kentucky. 86 out of 107. 5 straight years with over 75 stolen bases. They just find a way to create havoc on the defense.
Greg, I know you came in late during games, but when you came in to face teams that were aggressive on the base paths, did it change the way that you went about preparing for that team or that series at all, or no?
It changed my thought process. I became a lot more split focus. So, you know, if I could walk in and nobody's on base, and I could focus on.
McCarthy was way off second there, but got back in time.
Yeah, he was trying to time. He was trying to time Tyler Dean. If Tyler Dean came up with a leg kick and started going home, McCarthy was already halfway there. And Dean was able to step off and get a spin move. But it changes your focus as a pitcher. If you got a team that can run and you got a guy that can run on first base or second base.
On the ground to short, LeCroy up with it, only plays to first, so Burke's able to advance McCarthy down to third, and he's 90 feet away.
But it changes your focus. You have to spend some of your energy, some of your concentration on that base runner.
Sure.
And now all of a sudden my concentration's a little bit less towards home plate, or else I'm trying to be real quick towards home plate, which you're generally not as good at. I mean, some guys are really good at slide steps and quick steps, but I just never felt like I was as effective as I was with just a regular leg kick. So advantage to the offensive team because I'm not as good as I should be going towards home plate because I'm focused on the runner. And that part of the game is getting lost in Major League Baseball because of the analytics, but now that they've expanded or largened the bases, made the bases larger, you're seeing the stolen base coming back into style.
Yeah, it was a lost art for a long, long time.
Oh, you think about those guys in the 80s stealing 100 bases?
Right.
And now all of a sudden it's like, okay, you got Ricky Henderson at first base. He steals second. All you need is a single to score the run. You don't have to advance him. You don't have to string together 3 straight hits.
Oh, McCarthy was charging home, trying to get a look from Dean. Off the end of the bat, towards the mound. Dean fields and tosses to first. And that'll strand McCarthy at third.
Went 1 inning with 6 runs. They've really stabilized the game between Robinson and Hogan.
South Carolina will have 2, 3, and 4 due up in the lineup. It'll start with Ethan Petrie, who hasn't really seen a ton to hit tonight. He's 0 for 1, has walked twice. Petrie was hitless, Greg, in the Arkansas series last weekend, a rare 0 for 12 outing. And we talked about the strikeouts. They've been an issue over the last few games. 10 strikeouts over the last 5 coming into this series. He went 1 for 3 last night with 2 walks. So he's walked 4 times already in this series. So clearly the message from Coach Kingston has been received, at least. Be a little bit more patient at the plate. Swing it at stuff that's in the zone. That one is in the zone just by a hair, 2-2.
Well, you start down this path, and last year, I talked about his chase rate last year, where he would expand the zone, but he would end up getting something in the zone, and he would do damage with it. That was his pitch to hit right there.
Yep.
Fastball down, middle of the zone, and just down. And so we talked about it. Barry Bonds would get 1 pitch to hit. You better hit it. And so Petrie's probably gotten a little frustrated. The numbers aren't what they were last year. And he's expanded the zone, and now these SEC pitchers are so good that they can start stuff off on the plate.
This is trouble. Long run in from right field by McCoy. It's going to drop. First hit of the night, second of the series for Petrie, and he's aboard with a leadoff single here in the bottom of the 6th.
But it's just been a little bit of frustration, and guys taking advantage of his being aggressive. And that one right there is just a strong guy getting a fastball up and in, fighting it off. The outfield has to play deep to respect his power, a little bit of a no doubles mode. And that's what happens is when you get some soft contact, it's going to fall in front of the deep outfield.
Let's see if South Carolina can stage a comeback of their own. That's a wild pitch out of the hand of Robert Hogan to get Petrie up to second.
We've had a couple of those balls that have just airmailed to the backstop. I don't know if the ball was wet.
Where South Carolina's 4 of 7 tonight with runners in scoring position. That's been an area of concern for this team over the last several weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they got it all done in the first inning. After that, it's been a real quiet bunch of at-bats and haven't had anybody in scoring position to do anything.
Right. This is the first time they've had a runner in scoring position since the first inning. And the 3-0 is down, ball 4.
Blake Jackson coming up, and then Kennedy Jones has been swinging it really well tonight.
First pitch to Messina is rocketed out to left field. South Carolina right back in this thing. 3-run shot for Cole Messina. That's his 11th of the year. It's a 3-run ball game, folks.
That's just a guy that went up there with a game plan. He was going to hunt something, do some damage, gets a sinker, middle half in, does not quite get into the plate, get in on the hands. That's a problem with throwing pitches in. If a guy goes in there hunting for it with that power, you're not keeping it in the yard.
And base is clear after that 3-run blast. And O'Brien misses high for his first pitch out of the bullpen. Oh, Greg, this isn't the only high-scoring game across the SEC that we have seen so far today. I mean, you look at what was going down in College Station today. Texas A&M and Georgia is a game that baffles the mind. Georgia started off the game scoring 9 runs in the top of the first inning. Texas A&M answered with 8 in the bottom of the first. But hold on, it gets better. Texas A&M went on to win this game 19-9 via run rule after 7 innings. So they go down 9-0, a lot like this game, and a strikeout to Blake Jackson. But they go down 9-0 in the top of the first, and they win it 19-9. I mean, it's
unbelievable. It's college baseball at its finest. But that's Texas A&M too. They can play whatever game you want to play. I've talked about Kentucky. I mean, those guys are as offensive, and I'm talking about the Aggies now, as offensive as anybody. And then they can throw some arms out there with the best of them.
They had a doubleheader there in College Station as well. And in game 2, different story. 2-1's the score in the 7th.
Well, they used up all their hits.
That's exactly right.
That's all it is. You know, I mean, everybody's got an allotment of hits, and they used them all up in the first game.
Meanwhile, Arkansas has already won the series over Florida. They took the first game of the doubleheader today 6-5. As a ground ball back up the middle, Jones will throw him out. Florida won the second game of that doubleheader 9-5, but Arkansas continues to roll there, and Tennessee getting the series win over Missouri. They continue to roll as well. It's going to be an interesting battle for the top spot in the SEC this year, because you got quite a few teams in the hunt right now, whether you look here at Kentucky, Arkansas, of course, Texas A&M, and Tennessee. Those 4 teams are, I mean, it's going to be a hotly contested race for the final 3 weekends of the regular season.
Yeah, I mean, all right, Kentucky notwithstanding, you're looking at 3 of the top teams in the country again, and A&M, Tennessee, Arkansas, just it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these last 3 weeks in the SEC and see how everything shakes out. And then you're assuming all these guys are going to have regionals with shots to go to Omaha.
Right.
Because they're built that way. I mean, those top 3 teams and Kentucky are built to go to Omaha and do well with pitching. They got great arms. Wow.
They got to keep an eye on Vanderbilt too. They're a team that plays really well down the stretch. Right now, series split with Mississippi State. And the 2-1 and a called strike 2 in there to Gavin Casas.
Well, the good thing, I'm talking about with switching gears for a second, but O'Brien pitches last night, and it's something that's not done very often in college baseball, where relievers are going back-to-back nights or multiple times in a weekend. It's just not done. So O'Brien's got a great feel for the game, the hitters, pitching in this situation, because he did it last night with a 4-1 lead. So now he comes back out there. His stuff might not be as good, but he's sharper. He's locating on both sides of the plate.
Ooh,
like that.
Beautifully placed right there on the outer corner to get Casas. Third time that he has struck out tonight. Doesn't love the call. And then Kentucky and the bats started to come alive. And they scored 11 unanswered runs. Cole Messina got him back into it with a 3-run blast in the 6th. And that is where we stand right now. Emilian Petrie to lead it off for the Cats. 1 for 3 tonight with a single.
We've had 1 scoreless frame, Sam.
That's
Third
amazing.
inning. Wow.
Called strike 1. Cats looking to bounce back after dropping their first SEC series of the year last week to Tennessee. But again, a 15-1 start to the season, their second best start ever as a program. And here they are trying to even up the series with South Carolina tonight and force a rubber match game tomorrow. And by the way, Kentucky will have right-hander Mason Moore on the bump tomorrow. South Carolina's TBA. But a lot of pitchers used tonight. The 3-2 pitch is golfed out to center field. Brindling is there to record the out. Petrie retired. One away.
Nice job by Tyler Dean. Gets in a 3-0 hole. Finds a way to come back. Man, if you can just figure out a way to get mentally where you don't have to throw 3 strikes, I just got to throw 1. And so Dean throws 1 and then gets into it another pitch and gets a foul ball. And then all of a sudden, routine F8. And your team just got 3 runs. The momentum's in the South Carolina dugout, even though they're trailing. You don't want to go out there and walk the first guy who's got almost 20 stolen bases on the year and get the Kentucky offense started. So nice job by Tyler Dean.
Tyler Dean, coming into tonight, hadn't recorded more than 3 outs in a game this year. He has gone 1 1/3 here tonight. And that breaking pitch that's a serious 12-6 there. Dealt into Grant Smith.
Yeah, he's got a nice hammer. He's got a high-velocity fastball, and he's just got a really short arm arc, so it's deceiving to the hitter where he's just like, I'm not going to say he's like throwing darts, but he doesn't have a long backswing, and all of a sudden, the hitter just sees this hand pop up real quick in a throwing position. And that short arm arc and back allows him to really get that 12-6 spin on the curveball.
Fastball tied him up at 93. 2-2.
I mean, Tyler Dean just hasn't pitched very much, but you look at the stuff and you're going, wow, it's electric. Yeah. Where's this guy been? And this might be one of those things where South Carolina does another thing like they did with Bringling. And, this guy finds his spot. Hadn't pitched much all year, 5 innings, and all of a sudden it's like, wow. So this is what I'm talking about. I mean, very efficient mechanics, but there's not very much backswing. It gets a little bit long, and then it's real quick to the top.
Out to right field. Jackson is there, 2 away.
Game, not let this thing get past, any bigger point lead and just start pumping strikes with good stuff, man. You got a chance.
Nick Lopez in the mustache, back up. 2 outs, nobody aboard in the top of the 7th. Big looping curveball. Lopez with a 2-run RBI double in his last at bat in the 5th. No, it's almost like a catcher motion for Dean, because catchers are really quick and they don't have that long backswing that you're talking about. It's just very pointed. To your point, it's almost like throwing darts. I agree with you, Greg.
Yeah, there's I'm thinking of like Ken Hill. There's been a couple other guys that have that same motion. It's very short and back and quick.
Oh, and it's working. It was working so well that Jeff Millsap almost just called strike 3.
I would have loved that. Ring him up. That's only 2 strikes. Put me back. I got 1 more. But the ability right now of Dean to throw this breaking ball behind in the count now is to make his fastball better. Because now the hitters can't trust that I'm in a fastball count, I'm getting a fastball. And it's going against the book on Tyler Dean, which is a fastball heavy. But he's out there for a 2nd inning. He's figured out the ability, the release point to where he needs to throw this curveball and release it and get it to the bottom of the zone with that hammer action.
They had high, full count, 3-2.
That one is just, and I had this problem quite a bit of, all right, that was a good curveball. Wait till you see this one. I'm going to throw the best curveball that's ever been seen, and you don't get it to spin out front, and you end up leaving it hanging.
I mean, that curveball is what, 70, 77 miles an hour to 76, and then he pumps 94 in at you.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're coming out of the same slot, so you got a split second to recognize, and that fastball was in on Lopez.
8th pitch of the at-bat coming, and the backdoor breaker. Lopez holds up on it. Really good at-bat from one of the best hitters in the SEC, and he works a walk.
He's able to lay off that curveball down. Dean's just gotten into a mode. He's working fast. He's coming with it and feeling aggressive and thinking that, you know what, I've been landing this curveball for the last 2 innings. I'm going to throw this 3-2 curveball to the best hitter on their team, or one of them.
Just the 3rd walk of the game issued by a South Carolina pitcher tonight. That's also how Kentucky manufactures runs, is they get runners aboard and then they steal bases. Nobody has been more patient at the plate than South Carolina, though. They lead the country in walks this year.
Yeah, but if you told me that Kentucky only had 3 walks and they got 12 runs,
yeah,
I'd been no chance. But there's been some timely errors by South Carolina that have resulted in a couple of the runs, and they found a way to add differently than just the walk.
1-1 to Daly. Another big cut for strike 2. Daly's lone hit was the homer back in the 4th inning.
This is a well-located fastball at 93 miles an hour. If you got 1 more mile an hour velocity right here, throw it. If you don't, throw a hammer breaking ball in the dirt.
Lopez takes off down to second, and they got him. They had only had 3 stolen bases on the
ends on the weekend. We saw Arkansas lose 2 of 3 last week to Alabama. I just had Texas A&M on Tuesday against Houston, and Houston gave them a good run at home until their bats woke up and they blew it open. But it's any week, any team. I was really excited to get this game because, 2 top 25 teams. Kentucky is not thought of as much as the other 3 teams that you mentioned, Tennessee,
right,
A&M, Arkansas, but here they are, top of the SEC with an unbelievable start to the year.
And while everybody has had their struggles on the road, Greg, everyone's played really well at home this year, seemingly. Kentucky has been the best road team in the conference this year. 13 road wins are the most of any team in the SEC, and they're the most in program history.
Yeah, no, what they've done on the road has been just shocking. They sweep Ole Miss on the road. They get 2 of 3 in Missouri. They sweep Auburn on the road. They've gotten it done. Doesn't matter where they play. Their game travels. They can play small ball. They can play big ball. They can pitch. And if you can pitch, play defense, and manufacture runs, you're going to win.
Cam O'Brien is feeling it tonight. That's his 3rd strikeout now in an inning in a 3rd. Bullpen work after pitching last night as well.
Yeah, this is just a nice job of getting Lee Croy to go chasing up out of the zone. But once O'Brien came in, man, it just kind of stabilized the game. Seems like South Carolina answers with a 3 spot, and then O'Brien comes walking in, and he's just painting corners, nice breaking ball, gets you to chase out of the zone.
Ball 1 outside to Dalton Reeves, transfer from Presbyterian. Like we said, has served as kind of the secondary catcher behind Cole Messina, but his bat's been hot, so trying to figure out ways to get him in the lineup. Big South All-Second team member last season, Greg, and Presbyterian just over an hour away from Columbia. These 2 teams play just about every year. Last year, Reeves had 1 of the 3 hits against South Carolina in the 5-0 shutout for the Gamecocks. So raise some eyebrows. Gets at least 1 of the 3 hits. And this year's matchup, it was a 19-14 win for South Carolina against his former team, and Reeves hit 2 of his now 5 home runs in that game.
Getting it done, yeah. He It's pretty interesting. I mean, he gets back in the lineup. They moved the defense around to get this guy in the lineup at the DH spot. So Petrie's at first. You got Casas over at third now, LaCroix at short, just to try to give this guy a shot. But what about Kingston's job last night of pinch hitting? And 2 of his pinch hitters go deep in the 9th inning, and this guy's one of them. I mean, that moves you into, at least one of the top spots for Coach of the Year if you're able to pull off a couple pinch hitters off the bench and they go deep in the 9th inning to tie the game.
Reeves' lone hit tonight back in the first, and he cuts under a fastball. That's the 4th strikeout tonight for Cam O'Brien, and his 3rd in a row.
Well, I talked about it. You come in, you pitch last night, and your stuff's not as good as it was last night. But this is what they talk about when a fastball plays or it has some ride. That ball just stays on plane. Gravity doesn't have as much of an effect. It's more of a spin rate thing. And so the ball's coming in, and the hitter's thinking this, the ball's going to come down a little bit. It just stays on plane, rides up, and he gets Reeves on a high fastball.
Back to the top with Austin Brindling. This is exactly what the doctor ordered for Kentucky after that 3-run blast from Cole Messina. This park started to get some more life back into it, and then here comes Cameron O'Brien, and he has just shut down all 5 batters that he has seen so far. And Brindling gets a hold of one down the right field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It's foul.
I think you should get at least a double if you hit the food truck.
Or maybe like a free burger after the game or something?
Yeah, it's something. But Brindling gets a breaking ball or changeup, something elevated inner half.
That's what it's all about.
Fun to watch. Yep. O'Brien makes the exact pitch that every pitcher in the world would do after they just hung a breaking ball. I'm going with the fastball down and away. I'm not even trying to throw that pitch again to you.
And the 2-1 fouled back at a play, 2-2. And O'Brien strikes out the side. The 11th.
Curveball changeup. This fastball will jump up on some hitters, and he's got a nice curveball mix, which we just got done seeing Tyler Dean with a nice fastball curveball. Here's another one.
Here's Mitch Daly. 6th time this season that Kentucky has 4 more home runs in a game. 5 of the 6 have come in SEC play. That's really when the power started coming for this Wildcat team, was once SEC play came around.
Yeah, wait until the good pitching starts up. And
Exactly.
You're done with the non-conference stuff. But Coach Mingione should be real happy because they're preaching point of biggie boxes. Yep. He's got 2 of them tonight with 2 5 spots in the 4th and 5th.
And that caught a piece there of Daly, so he works a walk to lead it off here in the top of the 8th.
Is that our 5th hit by pitch tonight?
We are doing the exact same thing, Greg. I was reading your mind. I'm adding them up. We've had quite a few.
Kentucky. No, that's our 6th.
That's our 6th.
3 for each team.
Let's go.
Not very many walks.
Don't want to give free passes.
No.
So they scored that a straight walk, Greg, so take one off.
All right.
But nevertheless, quite a few hit by pitches in this game. Nicholson has hit the ball hard tonight, and he takes a hanging breaking pitch out to center field. Going to stay in the ballpark, though, for Brindling. That was up in the air for about 20 seconds.
Looked like a Ray Guy punt.
Yes.
I mean, both times Nicholson has just missed flying out in the 5th inning to deep right field on a curveball. I mean, he is seeing beach balls. Both those balls that he's missed and been flyouts have been well struck, good swings.
Well, that's the thing, Greg, too, right? I mean, they add the power, Kentucky, but that's still not their identity. Their identity is going to be manufacturing runs, playing small ball, and if the home run happens to come around, which it has, that helps, but they can just beat you in a variety of different ways now when you add in the home run ball.
Yeah, no, that's what's fun to watch is that they can do whatever they need to get done. They can bunt, all their guys bunt. They can steal bases. I mean, what they say, 86 stolen bases right now. I mean, they play any which game that they need to play to win that game tonight. So down 6-1 after one. You know what? We probably need to get away from the bunts tonight. So let's hit some bombs. And they do that. 4 of those tonight.
They're kind of like a Cincinnati Reds or an Arizona Diamondbacks Major League comp team. That obviously those are 2 very young teams, but they have maybe more so than other teams embraced the new rules and used them to their advantage by stealing a lot of bases. The Reds led Major League Baseball last year in stolen bases, and the Diamondbacks were right behind them. 0-2 breaker hit on the ground towards short, could be 2. Leekroy to second, Nolan over to first, in time. 6-4, 2 innings in a single game all season long. And he faces the top of the order. It'll be Petrie, Nolan, and Messina due up for South Carolina. Petrie 1 for 2 tonight with a single and a run scored. We can round up to 300. 299, round up to 300 for a batting average.
I think we can round up. I'm fine with that.
Okay, fair.
So I'm thinking O'Brien's going to be on a short leash. If he gets into the least bit of trouble, they're going to probably run out to the bullpen, I would think. As you said, longest outing so far through last night.
And Petrie's year last year, we mentioned it, but broke so many records, including the South Carolina freshman record for both home runs and RBIs. 23 homers, 75 RBIs last year for the freshman. And he fouls that one out of play down the right side.
Yeah, I'm not coming back to that pitch, Sam. You know, he's getting close to being on time. He can go deep on any ball or this ballpark on the year right now. He's hitting 444 on fastballs. The numbers on the slider and changeup are not as good. See if O'Brien goes to that cut fastball off the plate. Nice take. And that's where Petrie's been getting himself out as he goes chasing after that really good breaking ball diving out of the zone.
Two to the sophomore Petrie. And the breaker's in for strike 3. How about 6 strikeouts tonight for Mr. Cam O'Brien?
It's just been an assortment. I mean, his fastball's painting. He shows a fastball, and then here comes a curveball that Petrie has not seen yet. Saw a slider before that. He saw a cut fastball up out of the zone. I mean, O'Brien is just pitching. It's old-fashioned pitching. I mean, the velocities hasn't touched 90 yet. It's 89, 88. It's just paint.
It seems effortless, too. I know it's not, but it definitely feels like that. And O'Brien has struck out 5 in a row. Here's Parker Nolan to try and figure him out. 3 of the 6 strikeouts have been looking as well. To your point, Greg, it's just not seeing it all that well.
No, not at all. And it's been great location on the fastball. He's got a little cutter, keep you honest on the fastball versus righties. Big overhand curveball versus the lefties, and he's just staying down and away.
And there is a single, first hit since the 6th inning, and the first hit off of Cam O'Brien. We'll see how Kentucky handles it now going forward.
Well, that was probably the first time that O'Brien has missed with a fastball out over the plate. Now it's down, it's out of the zone. Left-handers are notorious hitters to be able to hit the low ball. But that's the first O'Brien pitch that actually missed out on the plate for them to hit.
And now the dangerous Cole Messina will come up to the plate. Last time he was up here, hit a 3-run homer over the left field wall to bring it within 3 for the Gamecocks. His 11th long ball of the year, and there's a hanging breaking pitch lined out to left. And a one-hop up off the wall, rounding second, heading to third is Nolan. He'll be held up there with just 1 out. And a double off the wall for Cole Messina. That's his team-leading 14th of the year.
His last 2 at-bats, he's seen 2 pitches. He went up there, he's watching, he's paying attention. Hey, this cut fastball's getting a lot of guys out. I'm going to go hunt that on the first pitch. He gets one out over the plate.
Even with the 0 for 3 night tonight, over the last 4 games now, Jackson is 5 for 10 with 3 doubles, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. And he watches ball 1 in the dirt out of the hand of Jackson Novy.
Well, you got an open base. Kennedy Jones coming up has been swinging it good. He's on deck. He's a righty. Costas is a lefty that's in the hole. So might be seeing Novy come in here, try to get Jackson out, intentionally walk Kennedy Jones. Costas come up, but that's intentionally walking the tie and run.
This one's ripped towards first, and Nicholson can't handle it. That'll score a run off the rocket from Blake Jackson. Nolan comes in to score. It's a 2-run ball game.
That ball was blistered, and then Nicholson couldn't find it. Fastball middle of the plate.
Wow, they're gonna rule that an error. That's an E3. RBI credited to Jackson, though. Messina advances to third. Nolan comes in to score.
Young man stays hot, and this guy has been swinging it good tonight.
And there's Kennedy Jones out to left. Waldschmidt ranges over, makes the play. Tagging up from third and scoring is Messina. So a sac fly RBI to make it a 1-run game.
How about the game plan? That young man right there, he goes up, he's hunting something off speed. He gets a good changeup, well located, down and away, almost off the plate, and it looked like off the bat. I was thinking the same thing as you. It was like he just went deep. Got a little bit of top spin on it. Yeah.
So now Casas, who left the yard last night, is 1 for 4 tonight with that RBI single in the first, but has struck out in each of his last 3 at-bats. That one gets away from the catcher Burks. Up to second goes Jackson, and the tying run in scoring position now for South Carolina.
That's going to go down as a pass ball. Devin Burks trying to frame this ball back in. Breaking ball off the plate. Just boxes off his glove. Good base running over at first base by Blake Jackson. As always, here we go. Game on. Tying run at second base. Bottom of the 8th.
So far, Jackson Novi hasn't quite looked like the Jackson Novi of the last several outings. 3-0 count here to Casas. There's a strike.
Even that's a 3-0 breaking ball. Probably see another one right here. They don't want to give Casas a chance to spin something and give him a 1-run lead.
3-1. Now, unfortunately, all or 2 of those runs, the ones that came in to score, were charged to Cam O'Brien, which otherwise sullies what was an excellent outing for him tonight. But 2 1/3, 2 runs, just 1 earned, and he struck out 6. So he closed the book on O'Brien. Payoff on the way, and the fastball misses outside. Ball 4.
He's shown him all breaking balls at bat, so he goes with a fastball in the 3-2 pitch. I just don't think Novi was committed to it, didn't trust it. Didn't want to give Casas a fastball. And so you end up, pulling it wide. It's kind of one of those mental things where it's like, I'm not sure if this is the right pitch. And now you got LaCroix up here tying, go-ahead runs over at first base.
South Carolina tonight, 5 for 12 with 2 outs. That's a .417 team batting average. Now, Kentucky is 7 for 13 with 2 outs tonight. Both teams have hit really well situationally. It's been a combined 25 hits in this game. Got 23 runs scored. And the 1-0 from Novi. LaCroix lifts it up. Should be playable. Going back is Petrie on it. He's called off, and the catch is made by McCoy. Early South Carolina has climbed their way back into this thing. They put up 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th and only trailed by 1. They will try to work quickly here in the top of the 9th against 8, 9, and 1 for Kentucky, and then get back up to the plate in the bottom of the 9th. But the strike 1 to James McCoy. 1 of 4 home runs hit by Kentucky tonight. Off the bat of James McCoy back in the 5th. Alongside Greg Olson, I'm Sam Ravitch. Pleasure to have you along with us. We will have Game 3, the rubber match, tomorrow afternoon at 3 Eastern time here on the SEC Network.
Well, so far we've had 2 barn burners in this series. I can't wait to see what tomorrow is going to look like. I mean, yesterday is about as good as it gets. 6-5, 10 innings, walk-off home run. Tonight, 6-1, blow open by Kentucky. Now South Carolina reels them in. Here we are, 9th inning, 12-11.
And a breaking pitch misses high out of the hand of Parker Marlott. 5th pitcher used by South Carolina tonight. Marlott has only gone 2 innings in 2 of his last 15 appearances, and there's McCoy again, out to right off the wall. And he'll hold it first for what has to be probably the longest single of his career. Man, he hit that a ton.
Man, we've seen some really good breaking balls get hit really, really hard. You know what? I mean, you want to give me a red flag as a coach or a pitcher? It's go have an offensive meeting with a guy on first base, and it's Kentucky, which means it could be anything. I got red flags going off. I got my defense all on alert. Third baseman's up on the grass. Who knows what these guys are going to do? They've tried a suicide squeeze with a 2-0 count with 2 outs. I'm not going to be shocked by anything, Sam.
McCoy not going here, and there's a nice breaking pitch in for strike 1 to Burks. Burks 1 hit tonight. And this is exactly the other thing they can do is just make you think a little bit about it and maybe work a walk.
Yeah, I'm on the mound going, what are they doing? What can they possibly do to me right now with the runner on first base? I'm looking around the room. I'm going to be shocked if McCoy is not off and running right here on a 3-2 pitch. Because the only thing Marlot's landed this at bat has been curveballs.
Not going there, and a curveball hit foul up the third base side. Took off later. It is a chess match. I got to imagine it is mentally exhausting coaching and playing against a team like Kentucky, as well as the physical aspect of it, because they just make you think. Oh, that's a tough spot there. It was a good pitch from Marlott. Didn't get the call. And Burks works a walk.
Really, really close. And I'm not sure if Burks was spinning like he walked. Yeah, that was a very aggressive, I'm peeling off everything, spin around and look in the dugout. Really good pitch, 3-2, but just missed. That was why I was always scared to throw 3-2 curveballs, because I might freeze up the umpire, I might freeze up the hitter, I might end up missing with a really good pitch.
And now you got even more possibilities here with first and second, nobody out. Waldschmidt, who has just hit the cover off the ball tonight, 3 for 5, a double and a couple singles. There's a fastball for strike one.
He might be the only leadoff hitter in the country of college baseball that does not have a sacrifice bunt.
Which, when you think about Kentucky, everybody sacrifices at some point. A check over at second, and that nearly got into center field. Might have even hit McCoy.
I think it did. I think it got it. There he is. He's rubbing it. Got him on the back of the leg.
Here's the 1-1. McCoy fakes the steal, and it's fouled out of play.
Now, I was always afraid to try runners on first and second to try a steal, just because the possibility of a triple play being in play, I was like, I'm going to be shocked if Kentucky takes off running.
Well, you also look, too, and let's see if we can get another look here. Casas is nowhere close to third base right now. Now, he could get there in a hurry, but he's not playing close to that. Not that close.
Yeah, he's going to be peeking over his shoulder a little bit.
They won't need it. A single into center field, the fourth hit of the night for Waldschmidt, and it brings in McCoy. Insurance runs for Kentucky in the top of the ninth.
It's a great piece of hitting. Another breaking ball down in the zone, and as you said, Waldschmidt stays with it. They go against the conventional aspect of bunting with runners on first and second, nobody out. And trust their guy to get the job done, and he does.
Got to imagine Waldschmidt's going to take off at some point here as well, even with the left on left. Waldschmidt's got 18 stolen bases on the year, and he's over at first. The infield for South Carolina playing in. And the 0-1. That's high. Waldschmidt takes off. No throw.
Yeah, that was just a defensive indifference. Petrie was, I don't think, even holding him on. The runner at third matters. Obviously, the runner at second matters too, but a couple of really nice sliders from McCoy.
2-1 to Petrie, and hits one on the ground, and it gets through into right field. 2 runs will come in a score for Kentucky. 2 RBI single for Petrie. It's now 15-11.
Well, Petrie's just too good of a hitter. He's seen 3 straight sliders. He leans out there, hooks this one. Here it is again. He's going to lean out here and hook this slider through the 43 hole. Just a nice piece of hitting. The infield drawn in allows the second run to score easily. And that's the problem with the infield in, but in that situation, you have to try to cut the run off at the plate.
First pitch swinging towards second, bobbled by Nolan to short, and not in time to get the speedy Grant Smith at first.
That just gets overturned. But you could see, Petrie's first base is over there for the second time this year. It's just the footwork.
After review, the slide at second base was legal. The runner was out. The play at first base is safe. The runner will stay at first. South Carolina has 1 challenge remaining.
Yeah, so as expected, call confirmed over at first base. Smith will stay there with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. And Lopez will be coming to the plate, batting from the right-hand side now, the DH switch hitter. And he squared to bunt, taken off to second. Smith is safe. His 5th stolen base of the year. I mean, it's just everybody for Kentucky has the ability, at least, to steal a base.
It's just, you know what? Kentucky gets a lead, and they are going to press the issue. And they are going to press your defense and make you make plays, make you throw them out. And Grant Smith running first move on the lefty. McCoy got a great jump. Not much Messina could do at all.
Greg, that's the 6th stolen base tonight for Kentucky. The 6th in a game. And there goes Smith again, taken off to third. And he's safe there. He's got 3 tonight. So it looks like they called out.
Well, I don't know. I think they might have called the hitter out. I saw the umpire point at him, but that might have been wrong, Sam. He's still in the box. So
yeah, strikeout there. He definitely swung at it.
That was it. We got a brief glimpse of the home plate umpire pointing at Lopez in the box, and I was thinking he might have interfered because Messina had to throw over him. And I couldn't tell, so I was trying to catch you real quick, but 6 stolen base and 4 home runs. I mean, now Kentucky's just showing off all aspects of their offensive game.
So that's the 7th stolen base. That matches a season high. 2nd time they've done it this year. And to your point, Greg, they just keep the foot on the pedal. And McCoy delivers a strike. That will get South Carolina out of it, but not before Kentucky adds 3 crucial insurance runs. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Hit another home run to win the game, but
and all 3 of those home runs in the 9th inning were off Johnny Hummel, who's been getting it done as a closer at an elite level. And you could just see the look on his face was like, are you kidding me?
Reeves will lead it off. Hit one of those homers, and all he sees is 3 straight strikes from Jackson Novy. That is exactly how you want to start it if you're Kentucky and Novy.
Yeah, you want to take away any thoughts of a great comeback. You add 3 runs in the top of the 9th. You put all the momentum in your dugout, and you got a veteran guy that goes up, lefty-lefty matchup, and does not do anything that the book says, which is a whole bunch of breaking balls in a lefty-lefty matchup. He goes all heaters away.
crucial first out in the bottom of the 9th inning. Austin Brindling to the plate. Had 2 hits in this game, Greg. Both of them were in the same inning, back in the first. And then he popped out, flied out, and struck out.
This is going to be a great day. I'm 2 for 2 after 1.
And he's got his 3rd hit. And Brindling has just been an excellent story for South Carolina. A guy who was a spectator for most of the first half of the season. And comes into the Arkansas series last weekend without much notice, by the way, that he'd be starting, and has just provided a spark. He's now 4 for 11 in this series. Awesome stuff and a great story. It's what college baseball is all about, making the most of your opportunities when you get them. And Brindling has done that. He's aboard with 1 out.
I mean, I love the story, and just hearing Coach Kingston talking about him, where he's got 1 at bat going into Arkansas, but they had been playing, games on Wednesday against themselves, guys that needed the work, pitchers that needed to get their work in, hitters that weren't getting any at bats, and he's just keeping an eye on what's going on, and he's going, this dude is just continuing to wear out my pitchers. Let's give him a shot. And here he is, 3 hits on the night.
He steps off with the pitch clock winding down. Smart play, because it would have been ball 3 if he had stayed on the mound there for much longer. So a 2-0 count to Ethan Petry. Brindling is on first. And a called strike 1.
Yeah, you can do that now that this game has extended to a 4-run lead. If this was a 1-run lead, Petry is not seeing that fastball on a 2-0 count.
3-1. Now, are you going after Petry here, Greg, or are you working around him a little bit?
I'm going after him with a 4-run lead. Have at it. Hit this ball as far as you want to hit it. Let's see what you got. Let's go.
And nothing too good. Petry works another walk. That is his 3rd walk in this game. Not what you want to do for left-on-left matchup here, and Nolan watches ball 1.
Question mark. Wow.
Nolan's been aboard 3 times tonight. A single in the first, a walk in the 6th, and a single in the 8th.
Man, those were 2 really good pitches. Golly. I mean, Novi just 3 pitches on Reeves. All of a sudden, Brindling, and then, 1 strike to Petry. 3-0 count here.
And a called strike at the belt.
This is always one of those tough spots, Sam. I mean, I've been in this spot, and the strike zone tightened down a shade right there, those first 2 pitches. He's got to find a way to fight through it.
Yeah, that'll load him up. Back-to-back walks. And the tying run will come to the plate in Cole Messina, who has already homered in this game. Cole Messina comes back to the plate, 2 for 5 night. Tying run at the dish, 1 out. And it hit him! It hit him! Oh my goodness. Right-hander Ryan Hagenow, who has only thrown 8 1/3 innings this season. However, he has not allowed a single run. 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Here we go.
This is one of those, I've been in this spot where I got to get ahead. I can't give him something good to hit. He's already shown me he can go deep in these moments. That's just a great pitch. A little two-seam fastball, starts in off the plate, catches the inside corner. See, if I'm in his spot right now and I got a changeup, I'm trying to throw that down and away, get a ground ball to second base. And then on the other side, if you're Blake Jackson, you're looking for something to do some damage with. And whatever that might be, he showed oppo power last night. So is he going to be out looking away and you got to pitch him in?
3-1. All three of Blake Jackson's hits in this series have been for extra bases. He had the 2 home runs last night and a double. 0 for 4 tonight, and the 3-1 on the way. It's high and outside, ball 4. That'll bring in another run, and South Carolina refuses to quit. They have worked now 4 free passes in a row, 3 walks and a hit by pitch sandwiched in between there, and the bases are still loaded. Now the tying run is in scoring position.
I mean, some really good pitches. Hagen out, and it was like I thought. Jackson wanted to get his arms extended, looking for something away. Kentucky was trying to pitch him in, which is a tight window to pitch. Missed a couple, and then missed on the 3-1. Man, that zone's gone bye-bye, Sam. I'm sorry. The strike zone. There's been some pitches that have been really, really good that have not been called this 9th inning.
This is what South Carolina does, though. They lead the nation in walks, and a 2-0 count now to Jones. Coach Mingione just has to look on and say, that's a tough feeling in there where nobody can find the zone right now.
Yeah, and you're sitting there looking around at your pitching coach going, who else do we got?
That's a strike.
This guy's already got 3 RBI on the night. 2 hits in the first 2 innings. Shown me some professional at bats. I mean, this guy could do something right here.
Good pitch, 2-2.
Hagenau's running a little two-seamer. Good pitch to get a ground ball, and he's looking to get some sort of contact, ground ball to his infield. Try to turn a double play and get out of this.
Called strike 3. And a massive second out on the board. Ryan Hagenau, after allowing a walk and a run to score, picks up a strikeout there to Jones.
Well, we saw Jones come up a couple innings ago. We thought he went deep on a pitch. He was hunting a changeup. He got it and just missed a deep fly ball to left field. He was hunting something there, and he stayed with it. You usually don't see hitters hunt a pitch with 2 strikes. And he was hunting something, an off-speed, a slider. He was trying to do some damage on an off-speed, and Hagenau threw him 3 sinkers, bottom of the zone, and a huge punch-out.
294 walks on the year for South Carolina as Casas watches ball 2. That was tugged in by Hagenau.
I don't know if I'm challenging Casas right here. Not with a fastball. I'm sorry, I still have an open base. The tying run will move to third.
South Carolina averages over 7 walks a game. They've got 7 tonight.
Yeah.
But, Casas is dangerous. And Hagenau, the 2-1. And he brought out the sword with him. It's 2-2, and South Carolina down to their final strike.
How about that? 85 sinker down and away. Then he goes 88, 4-seamer in. See if he goes back to that 88 again.
This one's drilled to center field. Back goes McCarthy, and he makes the grab. Kentucky wins game 2 of the series to even it up and force a rubber match tomorrow night. Wow.
Yeah, give me a second.
That nearly ended the game right there and then.